politically street, man. That's one of the coldest names you can have. Because we out here in these streets, but these politics is trickling down, so it's all intertwined, man. So we got to figure out how to work it the way we work. So shout out to politically street.
All right. Welcome to another edition of Politically Street, where we politically street all the time. Today we have a person that's I've been known for a while through a friend of mine vicariously named Gwendolyn Jackson, Mrs. Eboni Scott. Hello, Miss Scott. How you doing?
Awesome. It's good to be here.
I'm glad you came. You know, so Eboni, tell everybody about what you. Well, first of all, where are you from?
I'm from here.
Born
and raised,
Mm-hmm.
Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
A product of Jack Yates Senior High School.
Okay, JKs. All right, JY. All right.
JY. Okay. And so with that, my clientele and population for mental health has centered around the South Central region of Houston, but primarily the time that I've been back. Of course, I went away to go to school in Alabama and
Where'd
Georgia.
you go to school?
I went to Morris Brown in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I went to
Shout out
Dillon University.
PB, you know. All right.
I went to Dillon University in New Orleans.
Okay.
I went to Tuskegee University
Mm-hmm.
in Alabama, and I went to Alabama State University. So all HBCUs, my experience has always been tied and grounded in us. And so like that's been something that has been a stronghold for me, and definitely the focus of like my general goals along my journey. And so definitely a part of the development of my style in counseling and therapy.
Okay, that's a good segue. So Eboni here, she's a counselor, so that's why I had her on, because as of recently now, you hear that mostly African American people, we should go to seek help and talk to counselors for, like, you know, in therapy. You know what I mean? And so you and I, I did a panel last year in January called Family Now Feathers, and you were one of the counselors that was on the panel. And so the reason why I had a counselor, because one of the guy who was an inmate who got back out, he said the first thing he needed to do was talk to somebody. You know, so I appreciate you for coming out and putting your insight, you know, giving your insight on therapy and whatnot. You know, so.
I appreciate the platform and just really helping us to destigmatize mental health and wellness in our community, because it is something that should be addressed, but a lot of times we shy away from it because we think mental health and mental wellness is the same thing as psychiatric treatment. So those labels kind of deter people from getting the help that they so desperately need. Because we could be better people and we could be better communities if we just learn to relate to each other.
So educate me, because I don't know the difference between mental health and mental, the other word you just said.
Wellness.
Wellness, right. What's the difference?
Okay, so in just the Better Together initiative, I've been working along with the Founding Praise and the Institute of Spiritual Health in introducing mind-body wellness. So that would be more so being mindful and being able to address anxieties, general anxieties. It's sleep hygiene. It's managing depressive symptoms. It's your day-to-day, being aware in the here and now. That's mental health wellness.
Did you say sleep wellness?
Sleep hygiene.
I mean, sleep hygiene, right.
Yes.
So what exactly is that? 'Cause
You don't get enough sleep.
Okay.
Your ability to manage is compromised.
Wow.
Like if you notice not getting enough sleep in 3 to 5 days, you're a little more irritable. If something happens, my ability to cope or my ability to respond appropriately is compromised. Like the Snickers commercials. Like the Snickers commercials. Like either I'm hungry or I'm tired, my energy level is low, then I'm responding totally different.
Wow.
So those things, those wellness components, like putting in those pieces of like nutrition, diet, things that the way you interact with the community and all of those things, the way you view yourself spiritually and mentally, like those things are mental health wellness.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so mental health counseling would be us navigating issues, right? So in mostly surface issues, that would be like some communication, conflict resolution, family stuff, those kind of things. So I do couples counseling also.
Okay.
And so just kind of like talk therapy and those general topics, how we relate to others and how we navigate society. Mental health therapy would be different. It would be us addressing underlying issues, like things that have happened to me and how they have changed how I relate to other people.
Wow. So let me ask you this question then too, because I slavery, okay? Can PTSD or any kind of mental capacity type of thing that affect us can be passed down through generations?
As a matter of fact, I've been to several trainings this year about racial trauma. Racial trauma and the things that happen or that we learn or that we've taught by our families and by systemic issues with racism. So when we could start at slavery, but we could also start at voter suppression.
That's
We
true.
can, all of these things tie along the way. So police brutality, all of these things tie along the way. And so if you're a black male in America, then those racial traumas pile, and they don't look like PTSD from Vietnam. They look like hopelessness or helplessness. They look like anger and frustration and irritability. That's how they look. And so like the picture of trauma and PTSD that most people have is not necessarily what PTSD is. It is a response to traumas. And so yes, definitely I've had to deal with in several of my sessions this year those traumas coming up. Like having a black son and watching the things that happen on TV. It's traumatizing, especially if you had to walk your son through one of those experiences. So the hypervigilance that you consider for PTSD. So the anticipating danger, the heightened anticipatory.
Wow, I didn't think about it like that. So
Anxious predictions. Your son is out and you predict that he will get pulled over. You predict that bad things will happen. So like not being able to handle uncertainty of whether or not he made it home. Like all of those things are symptoms of PTSD. Having those thoughts or intrusive memories or nightmares about things that have happened, like those types of things happen because of consistent or systemic racial traumas. So it's definitely a factor. And us not having a place to deal with that has been a problem.
So you're saying like if I were to pull my son to the side and say, hey, if you get pulled over by the cops, you do this, and this, that's a form of trauma in a sense. I'm passing on to him.
It's not necessarily trauma until you are afraid and he is afraid in your day-to-day to navigate appropriately. Like, so PTSD, so any diagnosis is something that affects your ability to navigate appropriately daily, right? And so it might be that, ooh, let me not drive after 8 because I might get pulled over, and I might, those kind of things. Like I can't drive in this neighborhood, like that kind of, like I have an aversion to something because of this thought that I have. So those kind of things are responses to trauma.
Wow, okay. Got it. It's real good. I got away in this interview and didn't press record. But it's still recording on the camera, so we good. We jump right in, you know.
Good talks.
Yeah, I was you got me locked in. So, I don't really know how else to kind of like, segue into what you do because it's such a vast topic, of what to plug in, how, you know what I mean? So it's like,
one of the most pervasive things that I've noticed in doing this since 2008 is that people in our community especially don't consider certain things trauma that other people realize are traumas.
Right.
Moving around a lot when you're a child can be considered a trauma. It affects the way you respond in relationships. Or maybe losing a parent, having a parent to be incarcerated. Those kinds of things are traumas, but because they happen at such an alarming rate in our community, we just move on with
like it's
addressing
just,
them.
wow, like it's we're desensitized to it.
desensitized.
Wow.
But it's not, because it manifests in ways that we do view as problems, like poor performance in school,
Mm-hmm.
or like lack of confidence, low self-esteem, those kinds of things. And so like then how do we address those things? We have programs sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that are fully equipped and culturally sensitive
Mm-hmm.
that can address those issues, but a lot of times with lack of funding or with lack of understanding or knowledge about what is going on,
Mm-hmm.
then we take that aggressive little boy
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and he gets put on another track.
Right.
But maybe he's just frustrated about his home life situation
Right.
because he's experiencing trauma at home, or he has experienced trauma that nobody has helped him deal with.
Mm-hmm.
With a little girl and her promiscuity,
Mm-hmm.
like what is that? Instead of putting her on another track,
Mm-hmm.
we could receive her and teach her to love herself. We could work on self-esteem and self-confidence. That's
Mhm.
mental health. That's counseling.
So how do we implement this type of help? Because it's like if somebody's on you know, and I'm trying to be stereotypical, but most times somebody's on getting government assistance and things like that, they're not really, I guess,
They're not going to be able to pay
receptive.
what it costs to have a session, right?
Right. So how do you remedy that?
So there's several levels in which these services are offered. When I was a kid, I was a part of a program
Mm-hmm.
called Say Hi.
Say hi, shout out to Say Hi. Yeah.
Shout out to Say Hi, because they've been building self-esteem for survival for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, not even realizing what we're doing, they provided care for your child,
Mm-hmm.
but also they're teaching you about self-esteem. We would have groups and sit down with each other. We would do highs and lows about how we felt.
Mm-hmm.
We learned about journaling.
Mhm.
We learned about martial arts.
Yes.
So in that,
Wow.
we learned about breathing. We
Mhm.
learned about mental health wellness.
Mhm.
We learned about things to have esteem for yourself.
Mhm.
Like our history doesn't start with slavery. Our
Okay.
history starts with kings and queens.
Mm-hmm.
That's a basic foundation
Mm-hmm.
of a mental.
Think about that. You know, now I think about it too. When you said about the wellness check, in a sense, we were in Ethiopia. I was with Seha and Baba Shanga. We all sat around this, like about 20 or 30 of us sat in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Okay, well, what are you thankful for?"
Mm-hmm.
So he went around the room and
Right.
whatnot. I was like, okay, you know, but I was just glad to be there because I had a situation with Popeye Chicken. But anyway, but now I see what he was, why he was doing that. Wow, that's powerful, man.
Gratitude, and
Right.
that's a staple in the community, right
Mhm.
down MLK,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a place that you can come,
Right.
a place that you can come,
Mhm.
and not only that, learning how strong you are through martial arts,
Right.
learning your physical capacity
Mhm.
during that time.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's one entity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another entity or component is spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
So like the partnership that Avenue 360, the agency that I work for,
Mhm.
and Fountain of Praise has.
Okay.
The way that our community takes their problems to church,
Mhm.
whatever they are,
Mm-hmm.
prayer and meditation are so
So
closely related.
Mhm.
They are so closely related.
Mhm.
But that's another place. It's free. It's free.
Mhm.
The only thing is that a lot of religious entities have stigmatized mental health, counseling, and therapy. Thank goodness that Fountain of Praise is not that way.
Mhm.
Right? And there's several other churches in the community that are not. They recognize the need, and then they have a bridge to
Mhm.
services also.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, being able to take issues there in a supported environment, in a community that recognizes that your mental health is important,
Right.
that's a place to implement. I know you've seen programs with barbershops in areas,
Mm-hmm.
barbers. So there is a national program in which barbers are making mental health for Black men important. So
Wow.
of course, you guys, I don't have a son, and I don't have a reason to sit in the barbershop,
Barbershop, right.
apparently. But that is the place that you guys take everything. Everybody's seen the movies, right?
Right.
So y'all talk about everything then.
Right. Well, it's kind of, that was kind of taboo. Like, we don't talk like that in barbershop, but we talk.
Things come up in the barbershop.
It does.
Don't necessarily come up in regular conversation.
I agree.
With the variety of age groups and experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and a black male experiencing depression may come out as something else,
Okay.
but it comes up in conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody's knowledgeable about, hey, maybe it'd be a good thing to kind of talk to somebody about that, or like other people have a good perspective about that,
Mm-hmm.
or like watching him giving up on life,
Mm-hmm.
like, and just hearing some of the, I don't know what to do, I don't know what else to do, I done tried everything with her, or I done tried everything to try to just get on my feet.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's always something that happens to me. You know, those kind of things that come out in conversation, having a bridge for somebody that's appropriately trained or knowledgeable about it, maybe passing a card, or maybe just kind of giving them a word of encouragement. You just never know. But barbershops are a place where that happens, places that you share of yourself. And also, of course, I'm a therapist, and we have programs that offer discounted services or sliding scale services. So if you don't have insurance, like, you could go to a federally qualified health center and maybe you have a session for $35, $40,
Mm-hmm.
maybe weekly or twice a month you going in.
Let me ask you a question, because I just thought about something, how a lot of these, the phone calls that cops are having to deal with, should in the police academy, should cops be trained on mental health?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm asking that because, like, I think there was a guy that got killed last year, had a mental health issue.
I was a community therapist
Mm-hmm.
at our mental health authority here,
Mm-hmm.
and had several crisis called experiencing psychosis, and he running out of the house, and I'm on the phone yelling on speakerphone trying to explain that he has a mental health issue.
Mm.
He has a mental health issue.
Mhm.
Police weapons drawn. He has a mental health issue, and his trauma is tied to police. He watched police officers beat his father up and take him to jail.
Wow.
So now his trauma is actually tied to police officers.
Wow.
And 6 police cars show up, they weapons drawn, and he's experiencing psychosis. That could have happened so much better
Mm-hmm.
if they were trained. We do have a crisis intervention team here in Houston. It's just not enough.
It's outdated.
It's just not enough.
Is it outdated, or is it just we don't have enough people that are
It's not enough people to respond.
Okay.
And it's so people don't understand how many people are actually affected by diagnosed or not diagnosed mental health issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, with lack of sleep
Mhm.
and all of those things,
All these
psychosis
variables, man.
is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, responding to a scene with somebody that is experiencing psychosis can be scary, especially if you're not trained.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're not trained and you are thinking that you need to protect yourself. So because in personal family history, I know what psychosis looks like close up,
Mm-hmm.
then I have a lesser possibility to respond in like fear.
Right.
I'm not afraid because I know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I also can respond in a way that's de-escalating
Mhm.
as opposed to escalating. If somebody's in psychosis, I'm not going in yelling with my weapon drawn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calm. And if they go high, I'm going low.
Right.
Because I'm trying to de-escalate.
Right.
But that's not what they do. But that's not what they're trained to do.
Right.
And so trying to maintain control of somebody that's in psychosis can result in unnecessary deaths.
Wow.
Unfortunately. So yeah, more people should be trained for crisis intervention. And also not to negate the services that we have, because our mental health authority also has a partnership
Mhm.
where they go out and respond to some of these calls. It's just
It's just
again
not enough.
not enough.
Mhm.
Not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough.
Maybe they can do like a partnership with, like, you know how when the Black Panthers were going out and making sure that the police were doing their job, maybe they should be like a community effort to tag in when a call is made. Hey, let's call so and so, sister from Sayha who know this young man or whatever, and they just kind of, help talk them down. They just be like an enforcement type of thing, you know what I mean?
And so I will say that there are some programs within our police department and our fire department that allow community members to come and spend a day with them, or come and go on a ride with them, and or come and community involvement with those entities is becoming more and more important for those reasons. So of course, when I was working in transitional housing and I would have calls for crisis, I have a relationship now. I know that station number 9 is just going to come and respond. They're going to be like, hey, Miss Eboni, what we got? And I'm going to be able to talk to them about what's going on. But that was my program for 5 years, right? And so we have a relationship. It is about us creating a relationship. Because when you are walking into this community and you have no investment, you are almost afraid to be on these corners.
Which makes no sense. Why you do? But anyway, that's another story. Yeah.
There are so many people, whether they're firefighters or police officers, that don't live in the district.
Right.
That have no emotional investment.
Kind of tied, right?
In the area that they service, and so that creates a stigma in itself. You're afraid to be here. Right. You think you're unsafe.
Right.
But of course, if I went to Yates and I'm on the corner of Scott and whatever,
right,
I feel another feeling.
Right.
Because this is a place that I know. My dad worked on Scott. He worked on at Station 25s on Scott. He worked at Station 35s off MLK. So when I'm in my service area, I don't feel afraid. I feel my childhood memories. Right. I feel Lockhart Elementary on Sophomore and Scott. I feel all of these things. So I'm okay in my service area. I respond in love in my service area. But if you're afraid to be here, then yes, you responding like this in your service area. Or you're responding disrespectfully when you enter people's homes. Because culturally, you're not competent. So programs that provide engagement for both parties. Because again, if the only experiences I have with police are them taking away one of my family members, then I'm not responding in a working relationship. Right. I'm responding in fear. I'm responding in anger. I'm responding in resentment. And they're supposed to be community servant. Right. So engagement is important to try to destigmatize those things. So like growing up in a situation where I get to go to the fire station and I get to be around my dad's white counterparts, and somebody that would probably have scared me in any other entity because of all of the other racially traumatic experiences that I possibly had during my upbringing. Now I can see, oh, they actually like love and care about me. Like they flew to Alabama for my graduation. And these are different experiences that you have that shape the way you respond. Because I don't have to immediately run when I see a white police officer. Right. Because I know some white people are okay. Right. But if I have a lot of experiences with white people that are traumatic, the odds of me running increase.
Right. It makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So you saying you recommend people from the community to go in and partner in with. So what is the name of this partnership that you're talking about?
I would recommend engagement. Engagement, so that people can learn. You can learn about people in a way that's like, because if every time you approach the people in the community that you serve, it's to arrest somebody or it's to de-escalate a situation, then you see through a tinted lens.
That's true. I agree.
Go sit in a church. Go to a community center.
So you're saying
go to an area health center. I think they should have positive experiences in the community. I think they should engage in community assets so that they can see positive things that happen in the community, and so that they can have alliance with community strongholds. And in that way, when you there, you don't feel like you're by yourself, because you feel like, oh, I'm right down the street from the church, and I know they have Bible study right now, and so I'm like, you just kind of get a different feeling when you're in the community that you know. Right. As opposed to feeling like you're in a foreign place and you need to protect yourself, when really you're supposed to be protecting the community.
Right. So you say you think that our police department should go in and be more engaged.
Any civil servant.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Any civil servant, any community like involvement, anytime somebody works to serve a community, they should know that community.
Gotcha. But so how can people find you on, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, how can they find Miss Eboni Scott and some of her services?
So currently I provide services at Avenue 360 Health and Wellness, the South Central Clinic, which is our Griggs location.
Mm-hmm.
So it is located on Griggs. You can go on the Avenue 360 Health and Wellness website, and you'll see the services there. It's a federally qualified health center. So you can go there for primary care, you can go there for OB-GYN, you can go there for, of course, mental health therapy, you can go there for case management and social services also. And so again, I also work at our Southwest Clinic, so I provide services to our South region clientele. So the Southwest Clinic is on Main and Hillcroft, and it is right in the parking lot with Fountain of Praise Family Life Center.
Now, I've heard of Fountain of Praise. Where exactly is it?
Fountain of Praise is on Hillcroft.
That's in the
On
south
Hillcroft.
side,
I get
I'm from the north side, man. You know.
Okay, so it's right off. It's right off of Main.
Okay.
It's right off of 90 or Main.
South Main.
And Hillcroft, right?
Gotcha, okay,
South
gotcha,
Main.
okay,
Yes.
I got you.
So it's down in that area. So
Gotcha, okay.
we're Southwest and South Central. Those are the clinics that I actually service.
Okay.
And so I do virtual appointments. I do in-person appointments. We have recovery support. We have substance use support. We have a dental clinic in the Southwest office. We have primary care, and we have OB-GYN services. So it's a one-stop shop. We really believe in being present in our community. So partnering with those entities like Fountain of Praise, so that the community knows the services that are available, and we provide access in a way that is not stigmatizing.
Gotcha.